One of the most frustrating things that can happen is for you to put in the work and the effort and even make an investment to building funnels and preparing your presentation, and you've been promoting people to sign up for your class. And then when it's time for you to jump into the class, you click on the Zoom link, you get started, it's crickets. And most of the people who actually signed up and said that they wanted to come to your class has not shown up. And now you've reached another level of frustration because you are lacking the system that is necessary for you to actually create a webinar or a sales presentation that can actually get results. Because it doesn't matter how good your offer is, doesn't matter how good your sales presentation is. If you're not able to get people to actually show up in the room, then it defeats the purpose of why you did this thing in the first place. But don't worry. I'm going to actually give you the 4 key tips that you can implement right now that's going to make sure that you have a consistent show up rate for your webinars or your live trainings. We currently run more than 4 to 5 live webinars for our clients right now. Sometimes it's multi-days, sometimes it's in person, and we get show rates anywhere from 20 to 25% on the low end, especially if it's a free class, all the way up to 80 to 90% if we implement certain strategies. And so I'm going to give you the exact systems that you need to have in place to be able to increase your show rate and get more people to show up for your live sales presentations. This is going to be a straightforward conversation. We're going to jump straight into it. So let's jump into number 1, family. Let's go. All right. Now, the first thing that's going to be really important for you to have in place is going to be intent. All right, now I know you thought this was going to be some type of secret sauce so far. I'm going to break down a secret sauce, but this is the first thing that is really important because if this isn't in place, then nothing else matters. And when I say intent, what I'm talking about is that your webinar or your sales event needs to have a clear promise and a strong outcome for anyone who is choosing to come. Now, keep in mind, yes, money is something that people invest and people value, but most people actually value their time more than anything else. And so if you are having some type of setting that requires someone to lock in for an hour or 2 hours, maybe multiple days throughout the week, it needs to be some intent. They have to realize that when they come here, there's a certain transformation that they're going to get. Now, what we have to talk to a lot of people about is one of the first things that breaks people's show rate is that the intent of people who sign up is low because it doesn't take a lot for people to actually sign up and say they want to come to a free class, but it does take a lot for them to show up. You could have a funnel or a strategy that gets people to register for your class, but it doesn't mean people are going to show up, especially if the promise isn't actually strong. And so one of the main things that you can do is have a very clear outcome that someone is going to get that people actually desire. And it's not about you showing something that can actually help people because a lot of people avoid the things that are supposed to help them, especially if it causes some type of inconvenience. So you have to say it in the language that makes them feel as though this is exciting and they want to move forward. So one of the first things that we tell people to do is to avoid super broad messaging where it's like very broad and it's not a clear outcome. Like if you're just like, hey, come fix your credit, right? That's not going to be good. But if you say, hey, I'm going to break down how to get a 750 plus credit score and be able to get approved for a house in the next 30 days, that's going to create high intent. That type of webinar is going to have a much higher show rate than someone that says, hey, come fix your credit. Or let's say you are someone and you coach people on how to get in real estate. If you're just like, hey, come get your next real estate deal, that's not going to create high intent. Now, if you're like, hey, if you work a 9 to 5, I'm going to show you how you could flip your next real estate deal for 5 to 6 figures and you don't have to quit your 9 to 5 job. You see how like there's more intent. So the individuals that actually sign up are going to be way more willing to actually take that time out of their day and show up. So make sure your messaging and your marketing is being very specific as to what people are going to get from joining your class. That's the first thing. The next thing that's really important is going to be the first 5 minutes after someone registers, okay? So if someone registers for your class, the worst thing that you can do is not have any type of communication with them, no type of check-in, no delivery of information or anything. And so there's a few areas that you're going to be able to really be able to address this. The first one is going to be the confirmation page. So when someone signs up for your stuff and they register for your classes, you need to have a confirmation page that really breaks down what they're going to get and reinforce what they're going to get from the class. I actually suggest for you to have a video where you actually are excited and you get them hyped up to join the class. So what they see immediately after they register for your class is very important, and your confirmation page is the first thing that they see. I'm not saying drop a 5-step process that they need to take after the class, but for you to say, hey, make sure your calendar is clear. If you have a button that people can press and it automatically adds the event to their calendar, those are the things that you want to have in place. Now, the other thing that you want to have is going to be email and SMS. And this is why it's important for you to have a CRM system system because you want to have a client relationship management tool that allows people to register. And when they register, it immediately sends them an email and an SMS confirmation that gives them the details for where their class is going to be, that provides the date, all of that good stuff. And you also want them to actually save your phone number. You're like, hey, this is Adrian. You're like, save this number. So when I send the reminders, you know that this number is intended to remind you to come to the class. Again, if you don't deliver this within the first 5 minutes of someone signing up, they forget that they signed up. There's so many things on social media, especially if you're running ads or you're using social media to get people to sign up. There's so many moving parts and people just register for stuff all day. If someone delivers information to get someone to show up and you don't deliver the information, if they signed up for both of your classes, which one are they going to show up to? So the thing that's very important, the first 5 minutes, have a strong confirmation page, have an email confirmation, and have an SMS confirmation as well. AI is around. So a lot of people have iPhones and Androids. And so if you deliver a text message and an email, the AI will actually read the content of your email and SMS. And sometimes it will automatically add the event to their calendar. It also will highlight it and say important because you're inviting them to an event. It sounds like you're inviting them to, dinner or something. That's kind of like the language that you want to be able to use for this. All right. So that's going to be the second tip that's really important to increase your show rate. What's probably just as important, maybe even more important, is going to be your actual reminder sequence. Okay. There is something that is non-negotiable. You need to have SMS. You need to be texting people. I can't tell you how many sales events we ran, and if there was no text messages involved, it literally would decrease the performance by like 50 to 80%. Get people to want to sign up for your stuff to a point where it's so important that they're willing to provide their phone number. All right. If someone doesn't feel comfortable giving you their phone number, the outcome that you're promising is not strong enough for them to actually sacrifice. Some people pay money for things. Some people pay things for their time. Their contact information is something that they're also paying for. And so it has to be strong. You have to have SMS, and you want to make sure it's A2P approved. If you don't know what that is, look it up, but it needs to be A2P approved, right? Which means that it allows you to actually text people and the carriers actually approve for you to do it. Now, let me break down the reminder sequence. That's very, very important. Okay. One of the first things that's important is obviously going to be the confirmation. So you want to make sure that you send a confirmation SMS and email out to people. The second thing that's going to be really important, the next part, and some people go 2 or 3 days before, I'm going to give you the most important steps. Now, if you add more items to your reminder sequence outside of this, understand that there's some consequences because some people don't like getting hit up too many times. That's why a lot of people don't like providing their phone numbers, because some people are too aggressive. The other thing is, it's very easy for phone numbers to get burnt now. If you are aggressively texting people, carriers will block your number from texting anybody. So AT&T will say, hey, this business is too aggressive with text messages, and so we're going to block them from any of our customers getting text messages. And phone numbers get burnt out all the time because people text too much. And so what we found is when you use this text sequence, you're able to hit the most important parts of the reminder sequence, and you also aren't being like too aggressive. You actually send reminders in a way where people actually appreciate it because you're not overdoing it. But if you go above this, you do step into a territory where you could be bothering people. So it's completely up to you, but this is our suggestion. After the confirmation, the next one that we find really important is the 24-hour. If you can do a 2 day before if you want to, that's fine. That's optional. But 24 hours is really important, right? Letting someone know, hey, tomorrow we're going to be on. Okay, that's email and SMS. The next one that's really important is going to be the 1 hour before. Now, sometimes what we like to do is we like to do a morning of text messages or emails sometimes. But when I think about what is necessary to really get people to show up, 1 hour before is good enough. The most important, I don't care, go debate with anyone. If I don't send out a confirmation, if I don't send out a 24-hour, and I don't send out a 1 hour, if I at least get this text message, I should be able to still get a decent show up rate. And that's going to be the 5 minute before. You literally want to send a text message that says, I'm live on Zoom. Put the Zoom link in and say, get in the room. Here's the exact format that we use. I know I'm kind of jumping into too much sauce here because this is really giving away the strategies that we've seen that really works. We literally send a text out that says, I'm live on Zoom. And then I'll put the link right here. And then I'll break down what the class is about. Come learn how to do X, Y, Z. Come do that. Because again, it yells at the individual, right? Like the phones will actually scream and say, hey, I'm live on Zoom. That screams urgency. And you want people to get on that Zoom room 5 minutes before. The sequence, again, that is super killer for us, that really gets people to show up, is the confirmation email and SMS, 24 hour before email and SMS, 1 hour before email and SMS, and then 5 minutes before. These are guaranteed to get your show rate up higher. Sometimes we can add a 15-minute after sometimes, especially if it's a multi-day and it's on like day 3 or 4 and we need people to show up. We might do that sometimes, but for the most part, this is all we send, and it's not overbearing for most people. They actually are appreciative when we come with this format. All right, now number 4, the last one is going to be your calendar. All right, sending out a calendar invite is going to be huge. Now, when I say a calendar invite, what I mean is literally going into your calendar software and literally sending out a invite to their email address. This is something that we do on every class. Now, here's why this is important. And if you got a lot of numbers, it does get a bit harder. So you might have to use another software outside of just Google. We just use Google Calendar. What's cool about this is most people have their calendars connected to their phone. And so if you send someone a calendar invite, it actually starts to set up push notifications that will actually pop up for people and say, hey, this event is happening. I believe most people's default setting is 10 minutes. So when you think about like the 1 hour before text message, the 5 minutes before text message, and you have this pop-up notification showing up on people's phone, it is a game changer. And it also, some people operate from their calendars. So if you have your event on their calendar, the likelihood of them showing up increases significantly because of that. So this is the real key parts that are going to be a game changer for you. Let me go through them again, just because I love when people implement this. The transformation that is created in their sales presentation, it magnifies from this. Number 1 is intent. Your marketing messaging needs to be clear with a clear outcome. Number 2 is what happens the first 5 minutes after someone registers, making sure your CRM is set up the correct way. Number 3 is having a reminder sequence with SMS and making sure that it's A2P approved. Make sure you look that up if you don't know what that is. And then number 4 is going to be a calendar invite, actually going into your Google Calendar and putting the email address in of people who register and sending out those invites. These are the things that's going to be a game changer for you. Now, if you are someone and you want help actually implementing a webinar or a sales event system, we currently manage more than 4 to 5 sales events per month right now for our clients. We have helped hundreds of people be able to put this system in place. We're responsible for more than 8 figures in sales for our customers from running these type of strategies. And we also run our own sales events that also on average hit above 6 figures. Okay. So if you're someone who, and you want our help to implement this system, in the description, there's going to be a link that you can press that gives you more information on how you can learn how to leverage the system and also get more assistance from us. If you're someone who enjoyed this, make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to be dropping these videos for the foreseeable future. We're locking in and make sure we provide this content to you guys because there's so many people who's operating this system and they're really struggling to be able to get the freedom they deserve just because they don't know certain things. So our goal is to fill that gap. We need to be able to provide you with the information on the system that you need to put in place to be able to create a life of more freedom. All right. So lock in with us, family. Be on the lookout for more videos. Hopefully you click that link in the description and you lock in with us. I will see you on the other side, family.